All right, welcome into Floor is Yours. We took a break last week. We just had a lot of stuff going on, in the world, to be honest with you, last week. So we took a little break, but we are back, and we have a lot of exciting stuff going on tonight. We are going to talk a little Heat. We have a special guest that I think a lot of people know is going to be with us tonight. And we're going to talk about our sponsor first. We're going to talk about Eric Rubenstein, who we are grateful for his sponsorship of Floor is Yours. We're going to let Ethan pay the bills here and tell you about Eric Rubenstein.
By our friend Eric Rubenstein. You can find him at ericrubenstein.com or Attorney Rubenstein on Instagram. And you can often find him near the floor at Heat games. That's why he sponsors Floor is Yours. You'll find him hanging out with Rick Ross. But what he does in his day job is he represents you if you have a car accident. So reach out to him. Magna cum laude, St. Thomas University, South Florida, born and bred from Lauderhill. This is the guy that you want to go to. He will help you get what you deserve if you have a car accident. So check him out, ericrubenstein.com or Attorney Rubenstein, huge Miami Heat fan. Check him out today.
So, Timmy, I'm glad you're here. Missed you last week. And we're going to do our normal show, but I just did look as that ad was reading, and I got this email, and I didn't get a chance to forward this to you yet, but this is something that just came from my inbox. This is from the boss man, Ethan Skolnick. It says, Sean and Timmy, and that's apparently what he thinks your name is based on your Twitter profile. It says, I just left both of you a 2-minute voice text, and that's how we know it's Ethan. But I wanted to make sure we're on the same page about your show tonight. I saw earlier on the 5 on the Floor Discord, which is $2.99 a month, $3.99 on iOS if you want to join, that you guys are having Royal A. Shepherd on Floor is Yours tonight, and he wants to make this extremely clear. He says, I don't care how poorly this Heat season has started. Under no circumstances am I approving Royal to be part of the show. Timmy, what do you think we should do about this?
Well, there's a whole new world, so I think we should just go ahead with it.
Well, listen.
Daddy's home. Home for me. Yeah! What's going on, everybody? What's happening?
Royal is back. Listen, I want everybody to know this was not a call that I made last night at about 9:30 after, I ran out of timeouts and I was reeling. No, this was put in place last week, and the Heat have blessed us. I would say blessed us to make a negative into a positive that we have Royal here. So, Royal, we're thankful to have you. I know a lot of people are excited to see you back hanging out with us on Floor is Yours.
Appreciate it, you guys. Appreciate y'all for having me back. Been a long time since I've gotten the opportunity to talk to either one of you guys, like in person.
For sure.
Shout out to 5 Reasons. Shout out to everybody who takes time. I say this in every other platform, but anybody who takes time to make content for you fuckers, make sure that you are following them. Make sure you're supporting them. So make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Make sure you subscribe everywhere. And yeah, let's have some fun tonight, fellas.
For sure. We're going to jump right in. We don't normally do a lot of Heat stuff, but like I said, we just have to. The state of the Heat, and we're going to get everybody's opinions here. And if you're in the chat, fire up super chats, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Put your chats. We'll throw your chats up there as you're commenting on things. So what we're going to talk about first is the unfortunate circumstances of last night. And we are going to start this show by taking a timeout because we have all of our timeouts left. So you're our guest, Royal. We're going to let you tee off first. Just talking about that situation, maybe end of game situation and how that all played out. Timmy and I were talking on this pre-show. What was your reaction when this all went down?
So I was shocked like everybody else. It's the first time that I can recall, like during his tenure, where Spoils made a mistake that kind of cost us a game like that blatantly. I know people have had questions about like his rotations over the years or whatever, like his usage of timeouts and challenges and shit like that. But that was the first time where he made a mistake so egregious and obvious. Like it just kind of like took me aback for a moment. And it played out. Like we lost the game. Like we had an opportunity to come back. I think the players did everything well, and he let us down last night. So like that that to me was it. But it was like hilarious. Like we made a meme with Spo's face on Jimmy doing the timeout shit because like, but also like I understand the emotion of it too. Like you just watched your team giving up a wide open backdoor cut, bro. He was pissed. And so what does he do when he's pissed? Storm out on the court, call a timeout. Same thing played out last night, except we didn't have any left. So like, yeah, like you're pissed that it ended up that way. But Spo has done so much good. Like it just kind of like he's allowed one mulligan, like in my opinion. And that's his one. You don't get no goddamn more. But that one, you can get that one. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So it's all good.
I agree. Go
ahead, Timmy.
I agree. I feel like we've been watching Spo like what last 20 years, like almost 20 years. The first thing he does when someone blows a defensive assignment is call timeout and curse them out. So he's a creature of habit. He's repetitive. So all of his in his mind is, I have to chew out somebody for giving them a blatant alley-oop at the end of the game. But he was so caught up in that moment of being Spo. And I feel like someone should have grabbed it, like, we don't have no timeout. So, and Rod said, like, the man won with rings. He just won the game, like, 2 nights ago, like, like with the Jovic play. So he's allowed one now. If it's the next one, I might need to, I might have a step back and tell Spo, you might take some time off, go home with your kids, recalibrate. But, like, that's immense pressure. And you can see he cares. Like he sat in the podium and looked like he was near tears, like he was distraught. So like, it's whatever, it happens. Shit, it happens.
I got a question though. Hold on. So like you said, Timmy, like usually when somebody breaks down, gets a defensive lapse, like Spo chew their ass out. Whose fault was that? Was it Bam for not going to the rim with him? Was it Terry for not switching?
I think I expected Terry to switch. I was expecting to switch.
Why? Well, I guess that's the defense, but like, what would Terry have done to stop that situation at the rim?
Maybe get dunked on, maybe it would have been a miss, but no, it definitely Brown should have been there. But just because I watched him seem like a maniac, I expected Terry to switch, and maybe he wouldn't have had that open, and maybe he would have just caught it and tried to do a hook.
Sean, where are you at?
Well, the way I see it is this. I agree with a lot of people putting length on the ball because they didn't put anyone on the ball, period. Tyler is playing with his back to the inbounder, which is Cade Cunningham, and he's essentially going to take the first cutter towards that inbound.
But we're supposed to be in there and guarding the inbound?
Well, I think what I saw Spo say was that Ware was going to go in when it was Cade that was the inbounder. He was afraid, even though it was a very short amount of time, like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, that the pass could go back to Cade, and now you got Ware on Cade. You're going to get what? Maybe a dribble, maybe a catch and shoot. Like, I understand the reasoning. It's just like, put length, period. Put Haywood on him. Haywood was hugged up to Fontecchio on the top of the play. Use his length. Put Tyler on Fontecchio. Tyler could jam up to him instead of having Tyler there basically in no man's land. I agree with what you said about Terry. If they were trying to switch, which Bam did not help anyone getting around that screen. He died on the screen like Terry Rozier would. Awful. But if they switch, there's nothing Terry can do. And if you take Terry out of the game, which I'm fine with, put Jaime in the game. Jaime would be strong enough if they switch that he can jam that guy, kind of like a DB playing up at the line, jam him so he can't get clean to the rim. You're still in trouble if you switch, I think. But it was just a breakdown between Bam and Terry, Spo Law. I mean, everyone on the floor seemed to be out of sorts. And I think to the point that we made first, and it was on the Levitard show today, like, I cannot imagine Eric Spoelstra trying to put his head down on the pillow. Like, as a coach, I've coached high school basketball, AAU basketball. I know that there's been times where I've left a game and felt like a decision I made cost us the game. I've never had that type of circumstance, though, especially obviously at the NBA level. But there's times where we pointed fingers at Spo and said, his decision to do X, Y, and Z, that cost us the game. Popovich not putting Duncan in the game at the end of that game cost them the game, in quotes. It's not because Popovich missed the box out. Spo cost us the game last night because of his decision. It wasn't like he's the one that impacted. It's so different than any other circumstance. He's the one that got the technical. That tie game, they take, it's just like, it's not a decision that you're questioning. It's an action that he made that inevitably cost them the game. look, I agree with you guys. I don't point fingers at him. We're not trying to fire him. We're not saying that he's washed or anything. It's just a terrible mistake.
Who's not saying that? Sean Rochester?
On Spo?
I just want to say, for one, you compared yourself to Spo earlier. Do not flatter yourself. Second of all, it's like, look, now, I love Spo just as much as every other Heat fan. This has not been his best season, bro. Like, he has not been I'm not talking about like hasn't been in the upper echelon, hasn't been the top. He hasn't been good. Like, I think outside of that Minnesota game, like, Spo hasn't been good as a coach. And I'm starting to wonder, like, is it over? Like, is the run over with the Heat having the best coach in the league? I know we don't want to do too much Heat here, but, like, I be wanting to talk to y'all, and y'all don't be wanting to talk to me all the time. So
no, Royal, this is why you're a professional, because that's a great segue into Tyler Herro's transformation. We know that you have always been someone that's been behind Tyler since day one, since he came from Kentucky, always talking about him. It's basically you and John Jablanc are the two guys that I've always known. And I forget what the one guy's name was, the whiskey guy, but those three guys have always been behind Tyler.
We call him Whiskey Mort. Yeah, we call him Whiskey Mort.
The three of you guys have always been behind Tyler, but let's be honest now. Let's not make jokes about it. Listen, we all have to admit Tyler is playing his ass off this season. His stats through 10 games, 24.9 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, 5.3 assists per game, shooting 51% from the field, 48% from behind the arc on almost 10 threes. He's almost eliminated the mid-range shots from his game. Had that shot that gave him the lead before the play we were just talking about. But let's start with Royal this time, and then we'll go to Timmy. Just thoughts on Tyler so far this season.
Disclaimer. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do the thing. All right? Y'all know what thing it is. I'm going to do it. Don't get your panties in a bunch about it. But before I get there, Tyler Herro has been the best player on the Miami Heat this year, full stop. There are no caveats to that. He has played well. He's done all the things that I used to bitch and moan about Tyler Herro doing, playing off the ball, like being more selfless as an offensive player, like playing like Duncan Robinson, being super Duncan Robinson. Tyler Herro has done that, but he's also been the same Tyler, if that makes any sense, where it's kind of like he's more recently been more assertive with the ball because he's seen the teammates haven't gotten there. Like you said, he's eliminated that mid-range shot. He's getting to the rim a little more. It hasn't resulted in like an uptick in terms of like him getting foul calls or anything, but he's converting at a high level, so it doesn't fucking matter. Like catching, shooting, he's being decisive with the ball. Shout out to Tyler Herro, bro. He has been phenomenal so far through these 9 games that the Miami Heat have played. Yes, 23 points is lovely right now, but we all know what's coming. Like, it's going to happen. I don't want to wish injury, but the shot chucking, the inefficiency, with the team being as strained for offense as it has been all season long, he's going to feel that burden, and he's just going to start letting it fly. And eventually those percentages are going to come down. Those numbers are going to come down, and he will end up as the 25-4 player that we have known and loved for the past 3 fucking seasons. He is not a different man. He is just playing really well right now. I feel like this is the best way for him to play to have success in his career. But shout out to Tyler Herro. But I don't know how long he can keep this up, bro. Like, it just that's just me. If he does keep it up, shout out to him. But do I believe it? Not a chance in hell. And I'll be right back on that train.
Timmy, do you think it was his haircut or his off-season work?
I think it was the hair. The hair tucks away. Okay. But jokes aside, I do appreciate that because I mean, literally every game last year, I think I came on this show and like bitched and moaned about Tyler's mid-range shot. Like I hated him taking those shots. I can appreciate now that he's not taking them, but like Royal said, the season is long. Bad habits always come back. If it stays away, thank you, Jesus. But we don't have nothing to compare it to right now because again, sometimes he gets hurt. He always and every time it happens, he's explained that he gets hurt and then his body changes back to what it was before the off season. But as of now, this is who he should be in the NBA. This is who he should be. Like, there's no reason why he shouldn't have been taking 10 threes and instead of taking these mid-range shots. So I'm happy that and even guys, I spoke to him here in training camp and it was night and day. He's 2 years older, but he also been through a lot in the NBA. But Tyler himself was way more like calm Like whereas he was like 2 years ago, he was like, guy, I want to be the man, I want to be awesome. Even in sense demeanor, like he's sure about himself. Maybe father has changed him, all type of things, but he seems as a person more, I guess, secure in himself, and like now he's playing with how he's supposed to. Maybe he really got to him finally. That someone is like, hey, enough of that. But I hope it lasts. I hope it lasts because this is definitely how Tyler should play. We've been saying it for years.
I'm reading the comments and I'm reading the Discord, kind of flipping back and forth as we're doing this. And shout out to Sayless D. He's in our Discord. He asked earlier if Royal was going to talk Tyler, and I said tonight you're going to find out if a bear really does shit in the woods. I mean, you knew what we were going to get into here, man. He's going to keep it real. But listen, I think both of you guys made good points. Like his percent, he cannot continue to play like this. No. This is a 10-game stretch. He's playing great. We're all honoring that. We're acknowledging it, but it's going to tick down. The question is, how much is it going to tick down? And what is the result on that going to be? And hopefully as that ticks down, because it's inevitable, next person we're going to talk about is hopefully going to start ticking up. Really, the next two guys we're going to talk about.
Wait.
Bam.
I'm sorry. Before we go to like Bam, well, I guess it kind of ties into it. What would you attribute if he does tick down? Because I think people have a misconception about why I think that's going to tick down. I think that I say that because I believe Jimmy and Bam will progress to the mean. If Jimmy and Bam progress to the mean, Tyler Herro cannot sustain that level of play. He won't get those as many opportunities. It won't be in the same thing, and the offense will naturally change around the skill set of the two best talented players. That's what I mean by his coming out. Not that he'll play worse.
I think we are on the same page with that. I don't know about you, Sean, but I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think that they need to adjust things at this point through 10 games to make things better for Bam and Jimmy. I think that they're naturally just going to start to play better and fit in whenever Jimmy is back, especially Bam. I believe in that the most. The Tyler, I'm more worried about other people, and we'll get to them later. But I think that naturally he's going to regress a little bit. I don't think that the field goal percentages are going to stick. I mean, it's just 51% for a guard. We just know who he is. When we talk about Bam, like Bam shooting 41% from the field right now, that's ridiculous. That can't stick either. We know he's better than that. So I think we're looking at it kind of on both sides of the coin with these two guys. So talking about Bam struggles, 15 points a game, 9 rebounds a game, 4 assists per game. Those numbers aren't horrible. I mean, I'd like to see him have more rebounds per game. The field goal percentage is very concerning. The defense right now, 18th in the league. That's not an individual metric. It's not fair to point the finger at Bam for a team defensive metric and defensive rating, but like we are not Miami Heat basketball on the defensive end of the floor right now. And Bam just doesn't seem to, I don't know. He just doesn't seem to fit in. Last night's game wasn't even one of the bad ones, but I'm going to start with Timmy this time. Like, what is your thoughts so far on Bam and just how it's been a weird 10 games so far?
It's very strange, and what I wanted to ask you guys is, do you think the fact that we've begged for another ball handler all these years, right? But then you take the ball out of somebody's hand, and Bam has been the hub for these years. So is it because now you have Terry dribbling the leather of the ball, and you have Herro, and you have these guys who I think it's just a combination of the Bam from 3, you have Terry, and Terry isn't doing the best he could do. This team functions well when you have those Kentucky boys with the ball in their hands, right? So I think that, and I don't think it's an Olympic hangover. I do wish he would, I don't know how he's missing these layups. Like, I think he missed like 5 layups and like bunnies in the last 2 games, like Adams. I don't know if he's overthinking it, but I think he'll get back. But I think maybe the fact that he's now being asked to be the 4th person, like the 4th usage behind Jimmy and Terry and Tyler, you're gonna expect things to drop. You know, he isn't in the rhythm. I think he's out of rhythm because because the other guys, Terry has to have the ball to do anything. Because if Terry doesn't have the ball, then what is he even on the court for? And again, Tyler has reduced his dribbling, but I still think that Bam is out of rhythm. He needs the ball a bit more.
So I just have to say, because you've mentioned his name a few times, and when you say Terry's name too many times, yeah, he's actually not coming, but that sounded like he was coming. He was dribbling. Listen, Terry Rozier, I will get to him in a second, but I just can't stand the dribbling stuff. And I think to your point about Bam, I feel like when Bam used to get the ball and give it up, he knew he could get it back in that possession. I think right now Bam feels like once he touches it, he gives it up, he might not ever get it back. And we all know if we play basketball at different levels, like sometimes you give the ball up, you're not going to get it back. You decide to do things that are not probably within your game. And I think sometimes Bam is forcing things because he's not in that flow of the offense because of the dribbling. And I don't think it's necessarily a Tyler problem, but I don't think he's also innocent in this. About a week ago, I tweeted that I think that they're selfish. That was when Jimmy was still out there. Tyler, Terry, Bam at times is being selfish. I think Jaime is sometimes guilty of that. Those 5 guys, they got to play as a team. They're not good enough individually to overwhelm people unless they play team basketball. Royal, what are you thinking about the Bam fit and how he's just struggled so far?
Idris Femi Adebayo, congratulations. You are a Milwaukee Buck. Pack that motherfucker up. Get him off my roster. I have had enough. I'm okay. That's a bit far. I'm not a trade Bam guy. Like, never have been. But this is the first season I've actually considered it. Like, to be honest with you, Timmy, I hear you with Bam being out of rhythm, but he shouldn't be. He should be the one player in this team that's in rhythm. He just got off an Olympic run. He didn't have the ball there, and he played well off ball. I do agree that some of this is due to them trying to like jumpstart the other players by innovating the offense or whatever. Them kind of getting away from some of the things that they've been successful with. But we saw as early as game 2, they devolved into the old offense a couple of times.
Immediately.
And he still ain't getting this shit off. So like look, he's been fucking terrible. Like that's my assessment of Bam Adebayo. I love him as a player. And I forgot who said this. I don't know. It was y'all pod, our pod. I don't know. I listen to every fucking body. But they said because he has not been seeing the success on offense, it has bled into his defense, bro. And that's
1,000%.
That's the shit that cannot happen with Bam Adebayo because this team's defensive identity at its floor goes as Bam goes. If Bam is playing at his fucking floor, then this is a top 5-ish like defense. They can get there. You know, they might not be that from night to night, but when he's at his best, that's when the team defensively has an identity. Right now, the team doesn't feel like it has a defensive identity, and it's because Bam doesn't have a defensive identity. I feel like he's chasing blocks like a little bit. You know what I mean? Getting and that's cool. I don't mind. But it's coming at the expense of other things. So I care about Bam's offense. I no longer view him as a potential number 2 option on a championship team. I think that ship has sailed. I think he's a pillar for a championship team, but you're building around him defensively. And then you got to get 2 elite offensive players to go to connect with him. But this season, we just haven't gotten enough, bro. Do better. That's my only message, bro. Do better because you're capable. We know it. We've seen it. And I'm not personally, I'm going to trade you. I know the rest of the Heat Nation going to get all tight in the ass about it, but I'm going to trade your ass every night until you get better. So do better. That's my message.
Let me ask this before we move into Jimmy. Talking about Bam's offense and points per game, and I know that's just one little piece of the whole puzzle, right?
Yeah.
What do you feel like is an acceptable number? Because I think sometimes there is an unrealistic expectation of his points per game. He's just not going to ever be the guy that's going to score up in the upper 20s. But what's a realistic number that you could say? And I know the factor is, like you said, having 2 guys around him, then you don't need him to score as much. Right now, you need him to score. So what do you guys think in terms of a number that you think is fair? And you guys in the comments, throw in there what you guys think also.
I think right now my bar would be somewhere around 19, 20 points. I think that's a safe place for Bam. It doesn't put the burden of the 24, 25 shit that Pat Riley was talking about. Don't do that. But 19, 20 points is kind of right where I'm leaning for Bam to feel like he's putting his imprint on the game from a scoring perspective.
Timmy?
I had 18, 19. That's right around the same. I had 18, 19.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think that's unrealistic, unattainable in any way. I think that he can do that. You got to give him enough touches. We're not even going to get into the threes and all that shit that we've been talking about all summer. I think that horse is dead. It's going to happen. He's going to start shooting those threes a little bit better. I just think there were some expectations that he was going to set